In the summer of 1971, a psychology professor took 24 normal college kids, put half of them in uniforms, gave them badges, nightsticks, reflective sunglasses, and within 6 days, those kids were torturing the others. The experiment was supposed to last 2 weeks. It ended early because it got too dark. This is the story of how fast good people become monsters. Stanford University, August 14, 1971. A man named Philip Zimbardo had a question. Not a small question, a dangerous one. What happens when you give normal people power over other normal people? See, everyone wants to believe they're good, that if they were a guard in a prison, they'd be fair, kind, human. Zimbardo didn't believe that. He thought the uniform made the man, not the other way around. So he built a prison in the basement of Stanford's psychology building, and he put out an ad in the local paper. Male college students needed for psychological study of prison life. $15 per day for 1 to 2 weeks. 75 guys applied. Zimbardo picked 24. The most normal, stable, middle-class college students he could find. No criminal records. No mental health issues. No history of violence. Just regular kids. He flipped a coin. Heads, you're a guard. Tails, you're a prisoner. That's it. That's the only difference. A coin flip decided who would suffer and who would inflict suffering. Here's the problem. Everyone who signed up thought they knew what kind of person they were. They were about to find out they were wrong. Sunday morning, Palo Alto police cars pull up to the homes of the prisoners. Real cops. Real handcuffs. The guys thought it was part of the study. They didn't know Zimbardo had arranged actual arrests. They were pulled out of their homes in front of their neighbors. Cuffed. Searched. Humiliated. Driven to the Stanford prison. Stripped. Deloused. Given a number. Not a name. A number. Prisoner 8612. Prisoner 819. Prisoner 416. They were given smocks. No underwear. A chain around one ankle. The guards? Khaki uniforms. Wooden batons. Mirrored sunglasses so the prisoners couldn't see their eyes. Zimbardo told the guards 3 rules. 1. You can't physically harm the prisoners. 2. You can create feelings of boredom, fear, and powerlessness. 3. You're in charge. Make them feel it. And then he said something that changed everything. He said, you can do whatever you think is necessary. The guards didn't start cruel. They started awkward. They didn't know what to do with their power. So they made up rules. No talking after lights out. Address us as Mr. Correctional Officer. When you speak, you say your number, not your name. The prisoners laughed at first, because it felt fake, like a game. But here's what nobody expected. The guards started to believe it. And once they believed it, the prisoners had no choice but to believe it too. The second morning, the prisoners woke up different. They ripped off their numbers, barricaded themselves inside their cells, started shouting, mocking the guards. You can't tell us what to do. This is bullshit. And that's when everything changed. The guards called in reinforcements. They grabbed fire extinguishers, blasted freezing CO2 into the cells until the prisoners backed down. They stripped the rebels naked, took away their beds, their pillows, made them sleep on concrete. And here's the twist. They created a privileged cell. The prisoners who didn't rebel, they got their beds back, got to brush their teeth, got to eat. The rebels watched through the bars. Within hours, the prisoners started turning on each other. Why didn't you just follow the rules? Divide and conquer. The guards figured that out in one day. Prisoner 8612, his real name was Doug, started acting strange. Crying, screaming, saying the prison was real. Zimbardo brought him in. Doug said, I can't leave. I'm a bad prisoner. I have to stay. Zimbardo said, Doug, you're not a prisoner. You're in a study. You can leave right now. And Doug looked at him and didn't understand. Zimbardo had to remind him it wasn't real. That's how deep it went. 36 hours in, and this kid couldn't tell the difference between a psychology experiment and actual prison. He left that night. For more prisoners would break down and leave over the next 3 days. But here's what nobody talks about. The guards? They were getting into it. They started volunteering for extra shifts. Not because they were being paid more, because they liked it. By day 4, the guards weren't following Zimbardo's script anymore. They were writing their own. They made prisoners do push-ups. For hours, they made them clean toilets with their bare hands. They put bags over their heads and made them stand in closets. One guard, they called him John Wayne because of how sadistic he was, invented games. He'd make prisoners simulate sodomy on each other. Not because Zimbardo told him to, because he wanted to see what would happen. And the other guards? They didn't stop him. They watched. Some of them joined in. Here's the thing about evil. It doesn't announce itself. It starts as a joke, a test. Let's see how far we can go. And then it becomes normal. And once it's normal, you can't see it anymore. Zimbardo was watching all of this, taking notes, recording it. He saw prisoners breaking down. He saw guards abusing their power. And he didn't stop it. You know why? Because he wasn't a psychologist anymore. He was the prison superintendent. He'd given himself that role. And he started acting like one. When prisoners asked to leave, he didn't say, "Okay, you're free to go." He said, "You can apply for parole." He made them beg. On day 5, a grad student named Christina Maslach visited the prison. She was Zimbardo's girlfriend. She watched the guards humiliate the prisoners, watched them march them to the bathroom with bags on their heads. And she looked at Zimbardo and said, "What you're doing to those boys is a terrible thing." Zimbardo got defensive, but later that night, he couldn't sleep because she was right, and he'd been too deep in it to see. Sunday, August 20th, 6 days after it started, Zimbardo shut it down. He gathered everyone, guards and prisoners, and told them it was over. Some of the prisoners cried with relief. But here's the disturbing part. Some of the guards were disappointed. They wanted to keep going. Zimbardo interviewed them afterward. One guard said, "I didn't know I had it in me." Another said, "It was fun." Fun. The prisoners were traumatized. The guards were disappointed it ended. For years, the Stanford Prison Experiment was held up as proof. Proof that situations change people. That ordinary humans, given power and anonymity, will abuse it. It was taught in every psychology class, cited in trials, in military training, in discussions about Abu Ghraib. But here's the twist nobody tells you. The experiment was flawed. Zimbardo coached the guards. He told them to be tough, to create fear. The prison wasn't neutral. He designed it to bring out the worst. And the prisoners? Some of them later admitted they were acting, playing up the trauma because they thought that's what Zimbardo wanted. In 2018, a researcher named Thibault Letexier went through Zimbardo's archives. He found recordings, notes, instructions, and he concluded the Stanford Prison Experiment wasn't a study of human nature. It was theater, directed by Zimbardo, performed by college kids who wanted to impress him. So does that mean the experiment was a lie? Not exactly, because even if Zimbardo nudged them, those guards still chose to be cruel. They didn't have to put bags on prisoners' heads. They didn't have to mock them, degrade them, enjoy it. But they did. And that's the part that still haunts people. Because the question remains, would you have been a guard who walked away? Or a guard who stayed for the extra shift? You want to believe you'd be the hero. But the Stanford Prison Experiment suggests most people aren't. Most people just follow the rules, even when the rules are evil. Here's what Zimbardo got right. Situations matter. If you put a uniform on someone and tell them they're in charge, if you strip someone else down and call them a number, you've created a power structure. And power structures don't need evil people. They just need normal people who stop questioning. That's how it happened in Nazi Germany. That's how it happened at Abu Ghraib. That's how it happens in toxic workplaces, abusive relationships, corrupt systems. Nobody wakes up and decides to be a monster. They just follow orders. And they tell themselves, "I'm just doing my job. It's not my fault. Someone else would do it if I didn't." And that's how it starts. Philip Zimbardo spent the rest of his life defending the experiment. He wrote books, gave TED Talks, became famous. But in his later years, he admitted something. He said, "I should have stopped it on day 2. Because once you see how easy it is to break someone, how fast cruelty becomes routine, you can't unsee it." The Stanford Prison Experiment ended in 1971, but its lesson didn't. 24 normal kids walked into a basement. Half of them became torturers. The other half became victims, not because they were evil, but because someone told them that's who they were. And they believed it. So here's the real question. If someone handed you a uniform and said you were in charge, what would you become?